Welcome folks, Mac T here, Mac T Garage, and I have this 2005 Toyota Highlander with a need for a coolant change. So I'm going to go ahead and change the coolant because it is low. I bought it used and it's never been touched as far as I know. They said they did something to it, but I don't trust what something is. So we're going to go ahead and change this coolant out, and I'm going to go ahead and drain it, and then I'm going to do a refill. I'm probably going to do it 3 times, but one thing I'm going to do is flush it. That's right. I don't know the status of it. They put a water pump in it, I guess, at 110,000 miles along with a new timing belt. So we're going to say we got 60,000 miles on this right now for the coolant, and it's got the pink stuff or red stuff or whatever it is in it. We're going to change it with Peak Long Life multi-vehicle coolant so that I have everything as far as my garage under one roof as far as coolant goes. And basically shouldn't be that big of a deal, but I'm going to do is flush it out first with a Prestone flush using the distilled water. So we're going to go ahead and start draining it, refilling it with distilled water. Do that a couple times, and then we'll run the flush through it. Then we'll go again and drain and fill that a couple more times, and then add the coolant to it until we get it up to that 50-50 mark. The plan of attack, of course, is the Peak coolant, long life, and a little bit of distilled water. And we see that that is low, so we're going to go ahead, start by dumping the distilled water in it first, running it after we drain it the first time, and then start flushing it out with distilled water. Then the cleaner will be put in, and that is the Prestone. Now, as far as the Prestone, I have used this before for this flush and cleaner. We're going to go the short route. We're just going to run the engine, get it up to operating temperature after we get it flushed out a bit, and then let that run for 10 minutes after it reaches operating temperature. Then we'll go ahead, shut her off, let her cool down a little bit, then start draining and filling more of the distilled water. And then I have some concentrate Peak also, so I'll probably start out with that because we'll probably only get about 50% of the water out of there. But that is the plan, so we're going to start out by first draining, and then once we get it cleared, the Prestone will go in and we'll do a flush and a clean. First things first, this has not been ran, so I'm not worried about it. It's cool, and we can see that the coolant is that pinkish reddish stuff, whatever Toyota uses. I'm not too concerned about it. We're going to do what we're going to do, and we get that off of there because we want to make sure that it has a good route to drain once I open this opening at the bottom of the radiator to drain it. Now, first things first, you have to figure out what you're going to do. Now, there's an opening right here, and I could reach and drain that drain down here for the radiator. If I can see it right here, if you guys can see that, all the way back there. There it is. I could reach in there and turn that on, and we could all hope that the fluid would flow through that tiny little hole. But since I also am going to be changing the engine oil, and I want to be able to drain and reach everything there, I could take and remove all this, but I don't have to because there's an access panel right here to reach the oil filter. That is right directly there. So I don't have to do that. I can let it make a little bit of a mess in here and hope that it reaches there to drain, and shouldn't be too much of a problem. Don't want to do all that work to take this cover off just to drain that, so we'll go that route, and it'll be flushed and rinsed off repeatedly with water anyway, so we're going to go ahead and do it that way. Now, you can reach your hand all the way in here and turn this without much effort, so you don't even have to get under the car to speak of. We just start draining it. Drains right through the hole, pretty much. Makes a little bit of a mess, but we're getting there. So we'll just let her drain into the pan that way. No fuss, no muss. Now if you're going to take and clean this out, you have this tube in here. This is the pickup or overflow for the radiator. But if you want to empty this out and clean it out and wash her up, that's all you have to do. It slides right on here and just slide it right back on. And then you just put that back in there and you're set. Coolant has drained, so we'll go ahead and close this up. Yep, got that closed up. We'll go ahead and refill it now. Then we'll have to run her and get her circulated through with the heater core. Start cleaning all that out. Now they do say used a deionized water to do this, so I'm going with the distilled water in this aspect. But it looks like we drained at least 1 gallon out. Looks like we got 1 gallon. See how much of the second one it's going to take. Give the hose a squeeze here to burp out bubbles. Get some more in there. Looks like we got her about full. So about 1 1/4 gallons that we got out of there. Let's go ahead and put the cap back on and fire her up. We'll let this run up to temp. Once it gets up to temp, with the heater core running, we'll go ahead, wait a few minutes, let her cool down, and then we'll drain her all over again. This is what I got out of the first drain, out of the coolant. Not sure what the color is actually supposed to be, but that's what it looks like on the first drain. So not quite 1.5 gallons out of it. It's about 5.5 quarts, I want to say. So that's what we got out of the first drain. I have 5 gallons plus another gallon down here. So a total of 6 gallons of drains going on here so far, and I'm doing another one right now. Now we'll go ahead and dump this Prestone flush in here. Fill her up with the rest of the water and run her for about 15 minutes. Let's start purging this stuff out. There we go. We are draining the coolant. This is the Prestone flush that I'm getting out of it now. So once we drain that, we'll add more distilled water, and then do a couple more drain and fills on that to purge out the flush, and then we'll start adding the coolant. Let's go ahead and see what kind of water we got in there. How nasty it is. that's what the cleaner got me, right there. Well, this was a start as we went through the whole process of flushing the whole system out. Then you see the darker water there, that's what the chemical process was done. And then we got the final water out of the last flush. So that's the last one, clean. We got all the Prestone cleaner out. So now we're going to go ahead and add the coolant. Going to go ahead and add this concentrate full strength, because the system holds a little over 11 to 12 quarts. So this is 4 quarts here, and I got another one that's 5 or 6. So if I fill this up with the concentrate, I should be pretty good to go. As long as I don't spill a ton of it trying to do this. One thing I got to remember to do, and I know I didn't do it, is close the valve. Too much of a hurry here. That'd be a fiasco all by itself. There we go. Now we can go ahead and add it. This is a full concentrate, so this will mix with the water, and then I'll test it after I get done. And if I have to, I'll drain and fill to get it up to the, I think it's 36 below 0 rating. But we'll go ahead and add this gallon and then part of the other one. Runner, and then we should be done with this flush and have good coolant in there, because I don't know quite how old it is as far as the coolant goes. So with all things, anytime I buy a used car, it's like I've mentioned in the past, okay, you told me you change this, change that. You know what, I'm going to change everything. That way I know where I'm at. I know what the status is, and then I can mark and document everything that way. So, I mean, you know, you might have been the best maintenance person in the world on this vehicle, but I looked at the Carfax and some other documents they provided, and I'm going to say that, let's just say the oil changes were not what I call frequent. They were sporadic. So, you know, I'm going to err on the side of caution and do what I know is best, and that is to fill this thing up. And this is what we're doing. Like I said, I can adjust it here if I need to. Whoops. There we go. Pretty much full. And I got some 50-50 I can add in here. If I got to add more concentrate, I will. But I do have a little bit of this 50-50 that I can top her off with, and I can add concentrate into the tank there too. So, but this is a 50-50 mix. So I'm thinking I shouldn't be too far off from the 36 degrees that it says, but we'll see. Let that suck down in there. Go ahead and get her started and go from there. Keep topping it off. Let it run a little bit. And once it's topped off, then we'll be good. Fill the reservoir up. That way I know if it does overfill, we'll just go from there. I'll just check the coolant, and we are at about 37 to 40 degrees below zero, so we're good to go. That's about where we wanted to be. So this coolant change is over, the flush is done, and we are going to call it a day, folks, because it's been a long day on this. And this is Mac T Garage, and I want you, of course, go subscribe to Mac T Garage on YouTube, also Mac T Garage on Facebook, and MacTgarage.com. Yes, you can go over there and find all sorts of information out, and about parts and everything else. But don't forget, my feet hit the floor today, and I'm having a great day. I want you to have a great day too. And Band of One's got some great music for you, and Mercy Girl has a couple one-liners.
Thank you for watching Mac T's videos, and remember to like and subscribe. This is a Mercy Girl production.